How you doing, everyone? So Zach Nold here with Nold Family Horsemanship. This is going to be another YouTube video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about three-strike Mustangs and probably what training methods you should use. The last video I did was probably about 6 months ago. It's had quite a few people watch it, which I'm kind of surprised about. We moved places, decided to move into the mountains. We're in the process of currently building out some new facilities. Gotta get back on this. So anyway, if you like this content, make sure you subscribe and let's get started. So this is Athena here. She's a Cedar Mountain Mustang. She's fully trained. I actually just got done doing roundups on her for cattle in Idaho. She did quite wonderful. I'm very impressed with her. Honestly, if she was a papered horse, she'd probably be worth a bunch of money. However, she's my heart horse and I'm not getting rid of her. So we had a question about three-strike Mustangs. My last post. Three-strike Mustang is a Mustang who has been in an adoption event of sorts 3 times. After the 3rd time, they go to holding. When we own Titan, who's now running free up in Idaho, they put a brand on their butt of 4 numbers, which is the last 4 numbers of the brand on their neck. And this is also freeze branded on. That is so when they put them out to long-term holding on range, usually in farms and whatnot, and ranches that are contracted through the Bureau of Land Management. After a certain bidding process all over the U.S., that if they need to go there or one dies or has to be put down, they can identify them, how they're used. Three-strike Mustangs are generally Mustangs who either are older, don't have good conformation, seem extra wild, don't have good color. Definitely the most interesting horses for people to buy, and the ones I see going online for lots of money are Mustangs with color and Mustangs that have good conformation and a little bit younger. To touch on the age aspect of adopting a Mustang real quick, I'm going to let you know that this comes from Buck Brannaman, one of the great horse trainers of our time. We'll talk about him more in a second. At a clinic I was recently at, we asked him what he thinks the proper age to start training horses. And obviously there's some variables to go involved, but he did give us some insight into how old is too old. And well, not everything's set in stone, and some horses obviously are better off being trained young, and then if they get too old, you don't get trained, letting them go. Some are the opposite. He said that typically he wants to have at least the foundations of riding, so horses begun in the snaffle bit by the time it's 4 or 5. So what this means, come on. Oh, baby. So what this means is what this means is that you probably, especially if you're new to horses, like I was 3 or 4 years ago when I got Athena, you probably want to start with a horse that's 2 to 4 years old max. And the reason for this is they're going to be more amicable and less set in their ways, just like a human is. So Buck may have had it right. If you're more experienced, it may not be the case. And I'm not saying the older Mustangs aren't worthwhile, but for a beginner, if that's what you are, go for the younger horse. Somebody else asked me about conformation, and unfortunately that video is pretty much my max on conformation. Since then I have learned a little bit more about feet, specifically how the farrier can either taper the heel off, bring the toe in, and how they cut it. Depending on the horse, it's got to be done a certain way. And honestly, if your horse likes to put weight on it and licks its lips, it's probably being done right. The only issue I am having currently with Athena here is we took her on a pack trip up in the Sawtooth Mountains, then had a couple weeks off, and we took her to do roundup. She did wonderful, but she's now acting a little footsore, especially on rock. So the fair comes this week, and I'm probably going to be getting her shoed, which is not preferred, but it's unfair to the horse for her to be sore all the time, especially on rock, when my other horses do just fine on it and work just as hard as she did. So don't be one of those people that thinks they're always never gonna need shoes. Well, a lot of them do. Sometimes it's just how hard they get worked. Training. To train your Mustang, okay, you need to find and pick a training method. That doesn't mean that you can't incorporate various aspects over time. And I would highly encourage people to invest in going to a trainer in your area. So what I mean is, I followed Clinton Anderson when I first started training Athena. I liked a lot of his work. I still use quite a bit of it. Then I got deep into the Ray Hunt, Buck Brannaman method of training. That's what I currently use. I will switch back and forth. I don't think there's any hard and fast in the sand as far as certain styles of training do. There are certain exercises that I will always do. There's certain exercises that I would do some of the time. And then there are certain exercises that I would do only if absolutely necessary. But it's not something that's, this is how it's done every single time, all the time. It comes down to feel, understanding of what that horse's needs and problems are. Is it flighty? Is it pushy? Is it new? Is it new to you, or just new to humans in general? Is it young? Is it old? What's its breeding like, etc. Monty Roberts is another popular one. I've watched all his videos. He's definitely got some useful tips and tools. However, I don't see him being my go-to. Does that make sense? And then, of course, I have trained with various trainers out here, and I'm currently seeking out others, taking time off of work to go learn from them, because now I'm kind of getting into the roping world and more of the advanced reining and stuff like that. In fact, Athena here has started to round out and got the basics of like spins and whatnot down. So I go to Sydney Jackson Performance Horses here. She's wonderful, does great work up here in North Ogden in Utah, and she has been able to confirm some of the groundwork I've done and the cold starting I've done, especially her fiance Justin, who is a Ray Hunt, Buck Brannaman colt trainer, one of the handiest guys you're ever going to meet, and he's really helped me to understand the methodology to horses. You can watch as many videos as you want, guys. The reason my videos are short is because you just gotta get out there and do it. So after this video, I'm gonna probably go into more detail on my next ones about each methodology. I'm gonna show you how to round pen, gonna show you how to lunge, yield the hindquarters, the forequarters, all of the basics in one video at a time. And then I'm gonna try to get some more advanced groundwork, which is gonna set you up for your first rides. I'm gonna do this all on horses that are broke, from this Mustang to her baby, who's bred in the wild but born in captivity Mustang. May even throw my quarter horse in there a little bit because he's got some different buttons that you don't normally see. Anyway, if you like this type of content and you look forward to more, please subscribe and share. Thanks, have a good day.